bro. Get your shit off of me. My fucking gosh, bro. Oh, I don't got it. I'm about to just take off my shirt, bro. I don't care. I'm about to go online on Uber Eats, so I'm not gonna have like a full-blown streaming day. I don't even feel like doing a lot anyways. I don't feel like doing any of this crap right now. Low key, like I don't feel so connected with God right now. Like I don't feel like I just don't feel like my full self. I almost feel like I want to do something new. You know what I mean? But honestly, I'm going online on Uber Eats, so I need money. Okay. And I just need I just need to figure out what like not even figure I don't need to do anything or figure anything. I just need to be in line, bro. I haven't been wanting to do any editing or what happened, bro. I don't understand why it's doing that. I don't even know what the frick account I'm supposed to log into. I don't even know what account to log into. I don't even know what's password. Just don't fucking know the password, nigga. Tap locks on? I don't know. Nigga, I don't know the fucking password. But it's my other video. I don't know, nigga. What the fuck, bro? I literally don't fucking know. What the fuck happened anyways with this restream bullshit? Like, oh my gosh, you see what the problem, bro? Like every fucking day is some new ass bullshit, bro, that I gotta deal with. Is it like this? Like I don't fucking know. I don't think it's this one right here. Every fucking day is some new bullshit I gotta deal with, bro. Every fucking day. Thank God it was that account, bro. Because if I didn't figure that out, bro, it would have been just like something new, bro. That the fucking devil does to me, bro. Every day, some motherfucking new bullshit. Put for me. I don't know, bro. I just gotta push myself to do this shit already. I just gotta push myself to do the damn shit. I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like God just kind of works in very mysterious ways, and as I said, I what the hell is this? Just hella fat. All right, that nigga's got his own shit going on.
5 morning movements for lymphatic drainage, activating the fascia, and restoring natural beauty. And I'm going to explain each one. Firstly, we have arm whips. Try and stay on the balls of the feet and imagine transferring the energy from the base of the foot all the way up and swinging it out with your arms. This will activate the spiral fascial line. Then we have some light pendulums, keeping our head forward, allowing our back foot heel to flick away, and just gently moving our arms up and down to transport lymph and open.
Like I said, distractions, man. I can't get straight on my video because What the fuck is this? Just need to get a screwdriver. Soldier fish. That nigga said, see you. Man, I don't know what the frick I'm doing, bro. Truth about your 20s, man. This is what THC does to the body. Let's keep that. I don't know. I'm just sitting here distracting myself. This is what I mean, bro. Like, why would I hop on a stream and try to? I'm already good on this. Yeah. All right. So I want to do two things. I want to clip farm, and I also want to make a new video on my YouTube channel. I just feel so discouraged, man. You know, this usually I'm doing good and everything, but like I just feel so discouraged. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, it's mainly because of my woman problems. Like I feel so pressed on all sides because my woman don't. And it's like nothing's going on, but no one will ever understand. I'm okay with nobody besides God. This point. So I want to make a long form video for my gaming channel. So let me take
I've
this.
spent the majority of my years being angry. I do want to say I've been through a lot, but at the same time, that's not you going through a lot does not confine how you react. So anger is a total virtue problem. Man, anger is crazy, man. Anger has ruined my life for most of my life, man. It has destroyed a lot of my relationships.
They already have a video. I already need to download it. I know that if I gain an audience, man, I'm gonna feel all right. I hope my audience, man, I hope my audience is doing all right, man. And I hope my suffering is allowing my audience to do better. I hope people absorb my suffering. I'm about to get a job again, man. Because I get everything that I could ever want, man. I have my own home now. I have everything in the world that I could ever want. And now it's like, I don't even want to be here no more. I don't even want to be here no more. So I want to freaking get a job, so I am not home now. They're so shunned away. They want to do shit. I mean, what the fuck am I moving? If I'm moving something, what the fuck am I moving? There's this shit right here, bro.
You react. So anger is a man.
Shit. What am I moving, my nigga? Like, what the fuck, bro? Am I moving this shit? Oh, shit. You know what, bro? I can't, dude. I dead ass don't have time for this shit today, bro. I don't know what the fuck it is, man. I'm about to just hop on a live, bro. Hop on the game and just talk about bullshit, bro. Because I'm so fucking discouraged today. It's not even funny. What the fuck? I look like editing this video right now, bro. Like, I can't even motivate anybody to push through this kind of shit right here, bro. Like, this shit right here, it's rock bottom. I hate being in this kind of state of mind where I don't even want to do shit. No joke. I'm probably the worst trader on the internet. But over the last 90 days, I've been using a directionless trade to help me. I can't even play the game because it's so unhealthy, bro. Like, I can't even distract myself, bro. I literally just have to sit here and fucking. Like, I only make 17 fucking verses with, bro. Shit, you sit here and not give me no motherfucking words at all.
That it was said, love your neighbor and hate your
No
enemy.
motherfucking words ever,
But I
bro.
tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute. you may be children of your Father in heaven.
Oh,
He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors?
I just believe that today is just one of
If
those
you
days,
greet
bro.
only your
Fucking
own
such a
people, what are
fatigue
you
day.
doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect.
$175. Nigga, fuck people on Facebook Marketplace. They just be talking shit, bro.
I loved you. Now remain.
Niggas in Facebook Marketplace, they just be talking shit. They just be telling you, hey, I want it, and then they don't ever fucking even
You
respond
will
back.
remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy.
Bro, I just need it, bro. I'm about to fucking have, like, dude, I'm so fucking discouraged, mad at right now. Like, I'm a little bit cranky.
Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends.
Yeah, I've been smoking weed. I've been eating junk food. I've been eating in
You
general.
no longer call
I haven't been
yourselves
working.
the
I've been
sons
working
of
out a
the
little bit here and
Son.
there, but that's it.
Instead,
I've barely been making any money. I'm just so discouraged,
everything
bro.
I
I
learned
just
from
don't
my
know, bro.
Father,
Like,
I have made known to you.
I act one way one day, bro, and I allow it to happen, bro, and it just fucking just like every fucking thing falls apart from me. I'm supposed to just hold everything all together myself,
And so that whatever you
and
ask
people
in my
will
name,
just persecute or fucking just talk shit or
this is my command.
make me look worse than what I already am just because I fucking just I'm so done, bro. I'm just hated by everybody because apparently I can't have a good connection with God and fucking have a temper problem, bro. Fuck you all. I hate every single one of you persecuting bitch ass motherfuckers, bro. Which is not the attitude that Jesus gave, right? But you guys make me want to have that fucking attitude. Every single last one of you guys make me want to have that fucking
One
attitude.
of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question. Teacher, which is the greatest?
Like I dead ass hate my own fucking family because they treat me a certain way. Bro. I'm sick of it, bro.
Love
It's fucking
the Lord
sick
your
of it.
God
It's
with all
fucking
your
sick of it.
heart and with all your soul.
It's
and with
fucking
all
sick
your
of it,
mind.
bro. I'm just avoided at all times, bro. At all times I'm just fucking
The
avoided, bro.
second is like it.
Because apparently I got nothing going for me. Literally nothing at all, apparently.
All the law
I don't got shit going for me.
these two commandments. Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son himself, and will glorify him always. My children, I hope that you will hear no more. And you will look for me, just as I looked, so I do now. But I will come to you. And you can love one another. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get?
Yeah, nigga.
Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore.
Yeah, nigga. Full back cut.
That shit don't work no more. That shit don't work no more. That shit don't work no more. Not 2000 club. That shit don't work no more.
Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command. Love each other. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Jesus said, now the Son of Man is glorified and God is glorified. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself and will glorify him once. My children, I will be with you here at the end. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now. Where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous.
I mean, I can't even move, bro. I'm about to drink some water, and I'm about to come back to the live, bro. I'm about to just stay here on the live.
Tax collectors doing that.
'Cause I feel like shit.
And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself.
That boy's willing to die for that KFC. You know how much work he had to put in for one of those officers to bring him some Kentucky Fried Chicken? Now, I told you guys multiple times I've literally seen people lose their mind.
Jesus said, now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself, and will glorify him likewise. My children, I will be with you a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now. Where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate
Nigga, like, what are
your
you
enemy.
fucking doing, bro?
But I tell you, love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. You have heard that it was said,
Oh,
love your
procrastination.
neighbor and hate your enemy. But I
With
tell you,
Base 44,
love your enemy.
a simple sentence
Why is that elephant?
becomes your website. Pay
An old friend wrote to me, warmly after a long silence on both sides, and I started a reply, got 2 lines in, and then saved it as a document instead of sending it. Years between us. I have opened that document more times than I can count and never added a 3rd line. At some point I renamed the file, which is apparently a thing I do in place of writing it. The longer I leave it, the more the leaving becomes the thing I would have to explain, until the reply I owe is no longer about the An old friend wrote to me, warmly after a long silence on both sides, and I started a reply, got 2 lines in, and then saved it as a document instead of sending it, because 2 lines felt like too little for the years between us. I have opened that document more times than I can count and never added a 3rd line. At some point I renamed the file, which is apparently a thing I do in place of writing it. The longer I leave it, the more the leaving becomes the thing I would have to explain, until the reply I owe is no longer about the friend. It is about the silence, which I built one unopened afternoon at a time. You cannot betray a plan you were never able to make. You are a creature that can see further ahead than it can reliably walk. And the gap is where this whole difficulty lives. Still, present bias alone does not explain the pattern that actually torments people. Plenty of dull, distant, effortful things get done on time. What it cannot explain is why the avoidance settles so precisely on the work that matters most, why the friend's letter is harder to finish than a stranger's, why the calling waits while the chores get done twice. For that, you have to look at the feeling the task produces before you touch it. For most of the last century, procrastination was treated as a time management problem, so the advice was about time, schedules, lists, breaking things into steps. If you have ever tried to fix chronic procrastination with a planner, you know how that goes. Over the past 2 decades, researchers including Fuskia Sirois and Timothy Fichel have made a persuasive case that the planner was aimed at the wrong target, and that procrastination is better understood as a problem of managing emotion than of managing time. We do not mainly avoid tasks because we misjudge the hours. We avoid them because of how they make us feel in the moment we turn toward them, and avoidance offers fast relief from that feeling. The mechanism stated once and plainly: you approach the task, it carries some unpleasant charge, and you reach for something that lowers the charge. The relief is immediate, and relief teaches.
So let's say that you've got some stuff going on in your life, and heck, who doesn't have stuff going on in your life? Maybe you're fighting with your significant other. Maybe mom's or dad's health is failing and it's really, really upsetting you. Maybe you've got some financial stuff. You put too much of your savings into Bitcoin, and now that that's crashed, you're stressed out about it, right? And so you go into work, and when you get into work, you got stuff to do, you kind of walk in and you got this big stress ball that subconsciously is hanging over your head. And so you walk in and you sit down, and you know you got 13 phone calls you need to make. And you also know that you've been chickening out, you've been making easy calls, and there's a bunch of CIOs or other people that are higher level that you haven't been calling. And so as you sit down to do it, you got the stress on your shoulders, your brain it starts to go, wait a minute, you want me to make a call to somebody that I'm scared to make? Absolutely not. I'm so stressed out about, can we just watch some cat videos for a minute? And next thing you know, an hour's gone by. And then, of course, what do? You beat yourself up. So the only way that you can break this habit, and that's an important word for you to hear, you're not a procrastinator. You have a habit of procrastinating.
Unlock the world's largest, most liquid financial market with Forex.com. Forex, or FX, involves trading one currency for another.
Big difference. Because if it's a habit, I can teach you to use science to break it. You see, all habits have 3 parts. There's a trigger, and in the case of procrastination, the trigger is always stress. Then there's a pattern you repeat, and in the case of procrastination, it is to avoid doing something. And then there's a reward. You get a little stress relief. The only way to break a habit, you guys, is not to deal with the triggers. You're never going to get rid of the stress in your life, but you can 100% change your pattern of avoiding work. So next time that you're in a situation where you feel yourself hesitate, you spent way too much time checking out the highlights from last night's scores, what you're going to do is you're going to go, oh, I must be stressed out about something. Acknowledge the stress. Then go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you to count to yourself because I want you to interrupt the habit that's stored here, and I want you to awaken your prefrontal cortex. Then I want you to just work, just for 5 minutes. The reason why I want you to only work for 5 minutes is because your problem isn't working. It's the habit of avoiding. I just need you to start. And here's the other cool thing. We know based on research that if we can get you to start, 80% of you are going to keep going.
Do it enough times, and the sequence wears a groove, while the task, far from shrinking, grows, carrying its original weight plus the weight of having been avoided. I want to be accurate rather than tidy, because emotion regulation is a major part of the story and not the whole of it. The unpleasant charge on a task has many sources and they stack. Some tasks are simply aversive, boring or effortful, or too ambiguous to offer a foothold. Some of it is impulsiveness, a pull toward whatever is more stimulating now. Some is low confidence, the quiet expectation of failure that makes not trying feel safer than trying. Unclear goals do it, and rewards that sit far in the future, and an environment built to be more interesting than the work.
Toss leftover bread to its cubicle at the end of the day.
I think it's stupid crap.
So if we
It's not nothing to do
never
with procrastination, bro. This nigga just be making random shit.
turned ourselves into room swings, or felt operas slide like
What
syrup
the fuck is this, bro? I'm getting mad.
down our legs.
This is
You, the
procrastination.
broken nose, damaged just right. My dear, must I remind you again? Life should be more like a blizzard of paper birds.
Emotion regulation runs through most of these, but it is not a single master key. Seeing procrastination as mood repair explains why the trivial tasks are easy and the meaningful ones radioactive. A meaningless errand carries almost no charge, so there is nothing to flee. But the work bound up with who you are, the project that would show whether the talent you hope you have is real, sits close to a frightening question. This is why so much of what looks like laziness is closer to self-protection. As long as the letter to my friend stays unfinished, it can still become the letter I meant to write. The moment I send it, it is only the one I managed. There is a hidden bargain in lateness, which I have taken more than once without admitting it. Start the night before, and the mediocre result reflects effort, not ability. The chronic procrastinator is often guarding the most delicate thing he owns, an untested belief in his own potential. It also explains why the obvious remedy backfires. Catching yourself avoiding, the instinctive move is to get harder on yourself, as though contempt produced compliance. But shame is an unpleasant feeling, and unpleasant feelings are what the reflex exists to escape. Pile self-loathing onto the task, and it becomes more aversive, not less. You cannot reliably hate yourself into starting. That experiment has been run privately across a great many lives. If any of this seems too modern to be the whole truth, it is worth knowing that the difficulty is very old, and that the first people to take it seriously were not scientists but philosophers arguing about whether the thing you do every day is even possible.
Back in the back of an old red truck, just enough cash and a worn out look, pulling out before the sun, county line in the rearview glass, hoping this is one I pass. Said your name like a broken prayer, felt it crack and I don't keep on driving till my heart is whole. Past is done,
When I put off the hard task until tomorrow, I experience it as delaying my own work. When I am really handing it to a version of myself I do not fully identify with, someone not in the room, whose tiredness I will not feel and whose lost evening I will not mourn. Philosophy reached this ledge before the imaging did. Derek Parfit argued that personal identity is not the deep, all-or-nothing fact we assume.
If you're building a home gym right now, you probably think that you need dumbbells, barbells, squat rack, all this different stuff, but after coaching dads for the last 20 years, what if I told you, my man, that this machine freaking does it all? It is awesome. Can it really handle all of your training? Dude, I got this thing about 6 months ago, the Speediance Gym Monster 2.
What connects you to your future self on his account is not an indivisible soul traveling through time, but a web of overlapping psychological connections, memories, intentions, character, and those connections weaken with distance. The you of 30 years from now is related to the present you somewhat as a descendant to an ancestor, continuous but not simply identical. Parfit himself drew out consequences for how we regard our own future well-being, extending it to procrastination, treating imprudence toward your later self as a small injustice toward another person is a step this essay is taking, not a claim. But it is a step his view invites, and it changes the texture of the ordinary decision to defer. You are not only being disorganized, you may be treating a real person, the one who lives in the consequences, as if his interests weighed less because he is not here to object. There is a distortion running the other way, and this one you will recognize. If the future self is a stranger, he is a curiously idealized one. Ask almost anyone about tomorrow and listen to who shows up. Someone rested, focused, unbothered by the phone, holding the long, clean hours today never contained. Tomorrow me is more disciplined than I have managed to be on any single day of my life, and I keep giving him work on the strength of a reputation he has not earned. Researchers call the scheduling half of this the planning fallacy, our tendency to underestimate how long things take, even after being wrong the same way before. Beneath the misjudged hours is a misjudged person, and the two lock into an engine for delay. Today is excused because tomorrow is capable, and tomorrow on arrival becomes another today in need of excusing. There is at least a direction out. What seems to matter is making the future self more vivid and more continuous with the present one. In Hirschfield's work, people shown age-progressed images of their own faces or otherwise prompted to picture their later selves concretely made somewhat more patient choices afterward. I would not oversell the effect. But the point holds. The bond between you and the person you're becoming behaves less like a fixed fact than like a relationship, one that can be neglected or tended. The letter I owe my friend is, among other things, a debt I keep transferring to a version of me who will supposedly be better at hard conversations. He never is. He is just me, later, holding the same two lines. The postponed hours have to go somewhere, and Urban gave the place they go its right name, the dark playground. It is where leisure happens at the hours when leisure has not been earned. From the outside, it is indistinguishable from rest. Watching something, reading something, tidying something that did not need you. But anyone who has spent an afternoon there knows the difference in their body. Real leisure is light, because the time belongs to you. The dark playground offers the same activities stripped of permission, and the result fails even as pleasure. The show plays and does not land, because part of your attention keeps signaling the undone thing. What separates this from ordinary distraction is a doubling of awareness. The genuinely distracted person has forgotten the task. The procrastinator remembers it continuously, with a clarity he can bring to almost nothing else, while doing everything except it. He watches himself avoid and narrates the avoidance as it happens, at once the one wasting the hours and the one keeping grim count. You get the uselessness of rest and the depletion of work together, all the fatigue of labor and none of the labor, which is why a day of doing nothing can leave a person wrung out. The damage runs in a direction people miss. The dark playground does not only spoil work, it slowly ruins rest. Real rest needs a boundary, some sense of a thing set down, and for the chronic avoider, those boundaries dissolve. Work bleeds into evenings it never fills. Weekends are spent half-braced for tasks that never get touched, and what is left is a permanent middle state, never quite working and never quite free. People in it sometimes tell me they miss the feeling of a finished day. One thing about this terrain really is new. The exits from discomfort used to be whatever a person could improvise. Now the exit is a device built by very capable people whose business depends on capturing wandering attention and holding it, with feeds designed to have no natural stopping point and recommendations that learn which flavor of novelty settles your particular restlessness. This is not a conspiracy, just a market, and your fleeing attention is the product.
What if the most important book in the entire world was completely unreadable to you? This is chat.
Nigga, I hate when he's showing random shit. I understand, bro, like, it's supposed to get you to basically, you know, chill out, basically. But some of the art that he puts on it, maybe I don't understand it.
But the contest is less fair than it used to be. The struggle is old, the equipment on the other side of it is not, and that is worth factoring in before you decide the whole problem is your defective willpower. The deadline-driven procrastinator does have one consolation. His system, ugly as it is, tends to work. The panic arrives, the paper gets written, the filing happens at the last hour. The costs are real, in quality and nerves, but the structure of his life holds because the world keeps handing him emergencies that force his hand. The unsettling question is what becomes of a person when the world stops, when the thing being postponed has no due date at all. The two procrastinations. Everything so far, the all-nighters and last-minute saves, belongs to the visible kind of procrastination, the kind that happens inside structures. School, work, taxes, courts, institutions that wrap a task in a deadline, and a deadline eventually produces enough alarm to override the urge to flee. This kind is loud and self-limiting. However badly you suffer inside it, the structure catches you before you fall too far, and the damage stays contained to frayed nerves and work that could have been better. The other kind has no structure beneath it, and it lives in exactly the places institutions do not reach. The creative work you would do if you ever felt ready, which no one assigns and no one calls to ask about. The venture that needs 100 self-generated steps before the world notices you exist. The health that erodes by degrees, each skipped appointment individually harmless, the reckoning assembling in silence over years. The friendship gone quiet, where the not writing back has lasted long enough that the delay itself is now the thing to be explained, the conversation a marriage needs. The parent you intend in some formless permanent way to make peace with, none of it is due on any date. All of it is due in the largest sense a thing can be due. The cruelty is in the physics. With a deadline, delay raises the pressure. The closer the date, the louder the alarm, until acting becomes unavoidable. Without one, delay lowers the pressure. Each month, the unwritten book slides further into someday, which is not a time, but a kind of storage, a place you put things you mean to retrieve and mostly do not. The postponed dream does not nag louder as it ages. It nags softer until it stops presenting itself as a plan and becomes a private fact about you, mentioned with a small, self-deprecating laugh that asks the listener not to press. Because no crisis announces the loss never registers as an event. Nothing happens year after year, and nothing happening is exactly the outcome no alarm is built to catch. When Urban first wrote about all this in his comic register, thousands of letters came back, and they were not comic. They came from nurses and engineers and students and retirees, and under the variety ran one recurring confession: the feeling of having become a spectator in one's own life. I have never found a better phrase for where the deadline less kind eventually leads. The spectator still shows up and functions and meets every obligation that carries a date. What he has lost is authorship, the sense that his life goes where it goes because he is choosing it rather than being carried, and the grief is specific. It is not the grief of chasing something and falling short, which at least comes with a story and sometimes with dignity. It is the grief of a chase that never started, with no single day on which the not starting turned permanent. There is a hard philosophical edge here that did me good even as it stung. We define ourselves by our intentions. I'm a writer who has not written the thing yet, a friend who is going to reply properly, a person who fully intends. The postponer lives inside a self assembled largely out of futures.
Before you can begin training at your own regional airline, you have to complete what's known as the Airline Transport Pilot Certification Training Program, or an ATP-CTP course. The training has only existed for a few years, so in this video I'll explain why we have to take it and what you can expect from your own training. I'm headed down to Dallas now to get started. Most regional airlines will either host an ATP-CTP training program or send you to an approved training academy. Before my training begins at Envoy, I was sent here to ATP Jets in Dallas to complete the course. As you'll find out, the ATP-CTP course is actually not designed to help you pass the FAA written exam, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second.
Against that runs an old and unsentimental line of thought from Aristotle's insistence that virtue exists in activity rather than in mere capacity, to the existentialist claim that a person is the sum of what they do, with no hidden credit for the beautiful things left unattempted. I do not fully live inside that view, and I am not sure a merciful person can. But I keep it where I can see it, because the spectator's whole trance depends on believing the real performance has not begun. It has. This is it, going on now, while I keep the good version safe by never producing it. What makes the deadlineless kind so resistant is that it is missing the one ingredient that has ever reliably moved a procrastinator, an approaching consequence. So, the fair question is whether any real consequence exists for these things at all. There is one. It is the same for every item on the list, and every serious tradition of human wisdom has organized itself, in part, around the difficult work of keeping it in view. The final deadline. 2,000 years ago, in a short and bracing essay to a friend, Seneca argued that our complaint about life being short is mostly false. Life is long enough for great things if it were actually used. The trouble is not the quantity of our time, but the waste of it. His portraits of the people who waste it have not aged. The man so consumed by busyness, he is never quite doing anything, and the man perpetually preparing to live who never gets around to living. We guard our money and our property closely, and let anyone at all help themselves to our days, as though days were the thing we held in endless supply. What Seneca understood is that the deadline-less tasks do have a deadline. There is exactly one, the same for all of them, which is the end of your life. It fails to move us the way a term paper moves us because its date is unknown, and an unknown date reads to the mind as a distant one. Death sits in our planning, much as the future self sits in it, an abstraction we can describe and do not feel. With one difference, there is no panic phase. For most people, the alarm does not sound until something forces it, an illness, a loss, a birthday that lands wrong, which is why those who sit with the dying tend to hear the same regrets, and why the regrets are so rarely about things done and so often about things deferred until the deferring ran out. The old traditions built strange practices around this, and they read differently once you understand their purpose. The skull kept on a scholar's desk. Grave inscriptions addressed to the passerby. What you are, I once was. Marcus Aurelius, running an empire from a military camp, reminding himself in a private notebook that a person could leave life at any moment and should let that inform how he acts now. To modernize, this looks morbid. Its function was the opposite. It made the far thing near enough to matter. They could not lengthen life, so they worked on the illusion of its endlessness and reported finding on the other side not dread, but a sharpened attention, and under it a kind of gratitude. Here I have to put a warning on the medicine, because I have taken too much of it and I know how the overdose goes. Awareness of mortality has a dose curve. Held lightly, it restores proportion. Pressed too hard, it stops restoring anything and starts feeding the very anxiety that procrastination exists to escape. You can turn the fact of death into another whip. It helps to separate the useful thing from its counterfeits. There is meaningful urgency, which quietly raises the stakes of a real choice. There is panic, which floods the system and sends it looking for an exit. There is shame, which converts every idle hour into a small verdict. And there is compulsive optimization, the belief that every hour must be made productive or it is lost. Only the first helps. The others wear urgency's clothes and do its opposite. This means something the productive person forgets. A life well used is not a life of maximized output. It includes rest that is actually restful, play that answers to nothing, time given to people for no reason but their company, and stretches of apparent idleness in which attention wanders and things quietly recombine. Mortality does not ask you to stop resting. It asks that you stop mistaking avoidance for rest and spend the finite thing on what you would actually choose, which very much includes doing nothing on purpose.
Base 44 super agents. Careful, there's no going back. No setup. Just say hello. every tool you already use, plugged in a click. And away it goes. Analyzing the competition and delivering a brief before you've finished your morning coffee. Sit back while it understands your portfolio, builds and tracks dashboards, and finds your next big thing. Scaling your voice, turning your vision into the perfect post, and the perfect timing, and every bit of data into a decision. All while clearing up your emails, scheduling meetings, and reminding you of the important stuff. At night, it keeps on going, doing it all. So when you wake up, you're already one step ahead. Time to update what you think is possible. Base 44 Super Agents.
You had an idea. It started yesterday. What was it? Right. Claude remembered it. Your idea was hungry. Hungry for answers and connections.
Self-compassion is associated with more willingness to take responsibility for failures, less crippling fear of them, and more persistence after them, apparently because a person not facing a verdict can afford to look directly at what went wrong. The drill sergeant produces the appearance of high standards and the reality of avoidance because the safest way to escape his judgment is to never be evaluated, and the surest way to never be evaluated is to never finish, or better, never start. Self-kindness treated this way is not indulgence. It is closer to what makes it bearable to sit down in front of the frightening task, be bad at it for an hour, and come back the next day anyway. The word I keep circling is grace, and I use it deliberately because the psychologists have arrived by measurement at something the older religious traditions reached by another road, and the old word carries a meaning the clinical language drops. Grace, in the traditions that shape the term, is favor that comes before deserving, acceptance extended ahead of the work rather than paid afterward as wages. Set that against the procrastinator's inner economy, which runs on the reverse. Rest must be earned, worth must be proven. Today's standing depends on today's output. Grace breaks the exchange at its root. If your worth is settled before the work rather than by it, the work stops being a trial with you in the dock. It becomes only work, done well or badly, and failure returns to its true size, the size of an event and not of a self. Augustine, who gave us not yet, located his own release here, in the discovery that he did not have to perfect himself before he was allowed to begin. Whatever you believe about the source of such acceptance, its structure is available to you tonight. Worth first, then work. Every writer who has let themselves produce a bad first draft has borrowed it. Let me be exact about what this is not, because it gets mistaken for lowering the bar. Standards are not the enemy. Most chronic procrastinators believe their problem is too little harshness when they are drowning in it. Their inner life is a courtroom in permanent session, and the courtroom is the problem because a mind on trial flees, and the fleeing is the procrastination. Adjourn the court and the mind can afford to stay in the room. What remains once the shame is cleared is the honest residue, a task still difficult and a day still finite. Grace walks you to the start without the extra weight. It does not do the work. For the work there is a craft, unglamorous and learnable, and it is the last thing I have to offer. Start with the least glamorous working assumption in the whole area, which took me an embarrassingly long time to trust. For a lot of tasks, motivation follows action at least as often as it precedes it. The procrastinator waits to feel ready as though readiness were a bus that would arrive, when often it is manufactured by the doing and cannot be summoned before it. This is not a law. There are days where no amount of starting produces momentum, but the dread of a task tends to concentrate at its threshold and ease once you are inside, which means a fair amount of the suffering goes to fleeing a feeling that was going to fade anyway. You do not have to win the whole day. You mostly have to get through the doorway. So the craft of beginning is largely the craft of shrinking the first step until it is smaller than the fear around it. Not write the book, but open the document and write one poor sentence. Not repair the friendship, but add the third line to the letter. I know how minor this sounds. It targets the mechanism from earlier. A step small enough carries little charge and gives the reflex nothing to flee. There is a useful refinement here from the psychologist Peter Gollwitzer, who has shown across many studies that vague intentions underperform specific ones tied to a cue. Deciding I will work on it later leaves the decision to be remade in a weak moment.
Isn't trading really just the same as gambling, except in the stock market? That's a question a lot of people have asked me, and this is the answer I always give them. Gambling is when you're playing a game of chance. You can gamble at the casino, or you can gamble on Wall Street. But when I come into the market,
I will open the file, settles it in advance, and attaches it to something concrete. These implementation intentions are not magic, and the effect varies by person and task, but on average they help more than resolve alone, because they remove one of the places willpower usually loses. The same logic runs outward to the room the action happens in, and accepting this was a genuine humbling. In any repeated contest between willpower and environment, bet on the environment. People who look disciplined are frequently not resisting more temptation than you. They have arranged to encounter less of it. Putting the phone in another room is not a slogan, but a recognition that a device engineered to be pulled will, within reach, eventually get pulled, and each pull charges a toll of return, because scattered attention gathers slowly. Add a few steps between yourself and the exits. Remove the steps between yourself and the work. Leave the document open the night before. Choose tomorrow's first sentence tonight. After everything's said about the distance between the present self and the future one. These are also messages from one to the other. The near you doing the far you a quiet favor. For the deadlineless things, one more piece is close to necessary because they lack the built-in consequence that carries everything else. Where no deadline exists, you often have to build one, and the sturdiest material is other people. A private deadline only you can see is a promise with no enforcement, and the mind knows it. Tell someone the pages are coming Friday, and the task acquires a due date in the one currency the near-term mind respects: social reality. This is the logic of the oldest pre-commitment story we have, Odysseus bound to the mast because he did not trust the self who would hear the sirens, and its modern forms are ordinary. the writing partner expecting pages, the class already paid for, the friend told to ask about it next week. Structure of this kind is not the opposite of freedom. For the postponed dream, it is frequently the only door freedom ever walks through. None of this is a cure, and it would be dishonest to sell it as one. There is a version of this problem that does not yield to smaller steps and better environments, because it is entangled with something larger. Persistent, severe procrastination can travel with depression, with anxiety, with ADHD, with burnout, with the aftermath of trauma, with plain chronic exhaustion, and those are not moral failures to be outwilled. I am not going to diagnose you from here, and most everyday procrastination is not any of these. But if the strategies keep sliding off, if the difficulty is heavy and constant and reaches into everything, that is worth taking to someone qualified rather than treating as further proof of your character. Some of what looks like avoidance is a condition asking to be seen. And when you lapse, which you will, the last skill keeps the lapse from spreading, coming back quickly. Procrastinators are catastrophists about slips. One lost morning becomes a lost day. The lost day proves the week ruined. The ruined week enters the permanent case against the self. The practiced beginner treats a slip more like weather. It happened, it means little, and the next small step is still where it was. Miss once, try not to miss twice, and hold even that loosely, as a kindness rather than a rule. All of it together, the smaller step, the queue, the arranged room, the borrowed deadline, the fast return, adds up to a single change of aim. You stop trying to become a person who does not struggle and start building a life in which the struggle loses often enough anyway. He gets outmaneuvered most days by furniture and by friends, and that turns out to be enough, because the work never needed you transformed. It needed you to show up while imperfect. What I can actually offer you. I am not going to tie this off neatly because the subject does not allow it and you would not trust it if I did. Followed down, procrastination is not really a discipline problem. It is a present-heavy motivational system carrying out plans made by a version of you it barely recognizes, a flinch away from feelings that were often about to pass, and a habit of self-judgment that manufactures the avoidance it condemns. Underneath runs the slow, quiet spending of the only finite thing you have.
Have you ever wondered how the world's currencies are traded? The foreign exchange market, also known as the Forex market, is the largest and most liquid financial market in the world. It's a marketplace where currencies from all...
The trouble was never a single wasted night. It is the trance in which such nights accumulate, and the trance does not break through force. When it breaks through small acts of attention, taken gently, one at a time. Somewhere in your life there is a deadlineless thing, and you do not need me to name it, because it named itself while you were reading, probably more than once. No institution is going to ask you for it. No alarm is going to sound. It is guarded by a feeling, and the feeling is standing between you and a judgment, and the judgment is almost certainly harsher than the truth. Here is the little I actually believe about that thing, said plainly. It does not require you to be ready, because readiness tends to arrive after the beginning and not before it. Your best is not required either. The first version is allowed to be poor, and giving yourself that permission is not laziness, but the grace that makes starting possible at all. Hey. Nor does it need you transformed into someone else first. It asks for a step small enough that the fear cannot get a grip on it, taken at a time you have already chosen, in a room you have already made easier, with one person, if you can manage it, expecting to hear how it went. And when you fall away from it, it asks you back without the punishment, because you know now what the punishment feeds, The weeks are genuinely finite, and I will not pretend otherwise, but I am not handing you that as a threat, and I would ask you not to carry it as one. Held rightly, it is the reason any of this matters at all. A creature with unlimited time could postpone forever at no cost, and nothing it did could carry weight, because everything could always be done later by some other version of itself. You are not that creature, and the limit is not your enemy. It is what makes showing up for a single ordinary hour a real act rather than a rehearsal. Spend some of those hours resting, and some of them with people, and some of them doing nothing you could defend to a stranger. Just stop spending so many of them fleeing the few things you would actually choose if the fear would quiet down. As for the letter, it is still 2 lines long, though it has a better file name now. Not a good line, just a true one, sent before the part of me that wants it perfect wakes up and asks for more time. You will finish reading this, and the old voice will be there waiting. It will tell you this was all true and can begin tomorrow. It has said exactly that every day for years, in the same reasonable tone, and it is the one voice in your head that has never once kept its word. You do not have to argue with it. You do not have to win. Just open the file while it's still talking.
What is life? It's a puzzle. No one to guide us. No one to solve the puzzle. Goalposts constantly moving. Hilltop far. No one here. A missing piece. An uncomfortable scene. A game that can't be won. Night and day. Night and day.
And ignored the covenant she made before God. Surely her house leads down to death, and her paths to the spirits of the dead. None who go to her return, or attain the paths of life.
Just 3 years ago, this man and his entire family were trapped in bondage slavery.
Blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. They do no wrong, but follow his ways. You have laid down precepts that are to be fully obeyed. Oh, that my ways were steadfast in obeying your decrees. Then I would not be put to shame when I consider all your commands. I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws. I will obey your decrees. Do not utterly forsake me. How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. I seek you with all my heart. Do not let me stray from your commands. I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Praise be to you, Lord. Teach me your decrees. With my lips I recount all the laws that come from your mouth. I rejoice in following your statutes, as one rejoices in great riches. I meditate on your precepts and consider your ways. I delight in your decrees. I will not neglect your word. Be good to your servant while I live, that I may obey your word. Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. I am a stranger on earth. Do not hide your commands from me. My soul is consumed with longing for your laws at all times. You rebuke the arrogant who are accursed, those who stray from your commands. Remove from me their scorn and contempt, for I keep your statutes. Though rulers sit together and slander me, your servant will meditate on your decrees. Your statutes are my delight. They are my counselors. I am laid low in the dust. Preserve my life according to your word. I gave an account of my ways, and you answered me. Teach me your decrees. Cause me to understand the way of your precepts, that I may meditate on your wonderful deeds. My soul is weary with sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. Keep me from deceitful ways. Be gracious to me, and teach me your law. I have chosen the way of faithfulness. I have set my heart on your laws. I hold fast to your statutes, Lord. Do not let me be put to shame. I run in the path of your commands, for you have broadened my understanding. Teach me, Lord, the way of your decrees, that I may follow it to the end. Give me understanding, so that I may keep your law and obey it with all my heart. Direct me in the path of your commands, for there I find delight. Turn my heart toward your statutes, and not toward selfish gain. Turn my eyes away from worthless things. Preserve my life according to your word. Fulfill your promise to your servant, so that you may be feared. Take away the disgrace I dread, for your laws are good. How I long for your precepts. In your righteousness preserve my life. May your unfailing love come to me, Lord, your salvation according to your promise. Then I can answer anyone who taunts me, for I trust in your word. Never take your word of truth from my mouth, for I have put my hope in your laws. I will always obey your law forever and ever. I will walk about in freedom, for I have sought out your precepts. I will speak of your statutes before kings, and will not be put to shame. For I delight in your commands, because I love them. I reach out for your commands, which I love, that I may meditate on your decrees. Remember your word to your servant, for you have given me hope. My comfort in my suffering is this: your promise preserves my life. The arrogant mock me unmercifully, but I do not turn from your law. I remember, Lord, your ancient laws, and I find comfort in them. Indignation grips me because of the wicked, who have forsaken your law. Your decrees are a theme of my song wherever I lodge. In the night, Lord, I remember your name, that I may keep your law. This has been my practice. I obey your precepts. You are my portion, Lord. I have promised to obey your words. I have sought your face with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. I have considered my ways and have turned my steps to your statutes. I will hasten and not delay to obey your commands. Though the wicked bind me with ropes, I will not forget your law. At midnight I rise to give you thanks for your righteous laws. I am a friend to all who fear you, to all who follow your precepts. The earth is filled with your love, Lord. Teach me your decrees. Do good to your servant according to your word, Lord. Teach me knowledge and good judgment, for I trust your commands. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I obey your word. You are good, and what you do is good. Teach me your decrees. Though the arrogant have smeared me with lies, I keep your precepts with all my heart. Their hearts are callous and unfeeling, but I delight in your law. It was good for me to be afflicted, so that I might learn your decrees. The law from your mouth is more precious to me than thousands of pieces of silver and gold. Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding to learn your commands. May those who fear you rejoice when they see me, for I have put my hope in your word. I know, Lord, that your laws are righteous, and that in faithfulness you have afflicted me. May your unfailing love be my comfort, according to your promise to your servant. Let your compassion come to me that I may live, for your law is my delight. May the arrogant be put to shame for wronging me without cause, but I will meditate on your precepts. May those who fear you turn to me, those who understand your statutes. May I wholeheartedly follow your decrees, that I may not be put to shame. My soul faints with longing for your salvation, but I have put my hope in your word. My eyes fail looking for your promise. I say, when will you comfort me? Though I am like a wineskin in the smoke, I do not forget your decrees. How long must your servant wait? When will you punish my persecutors? The arrogant dig pits to trap me, contrary to your law. All your commands are trustworthy. Help me, for I am being persecuted without cause. They almost wiped me from the earth, but I have not forsaken your precepts. In your unfailing love, preserve my life, that I may obey the statutes of your mouth. Your word, Lord, is eternal. It stands firm in the heavens. Your faithfulness continues through all generations. You established the earth, and it endures. Your laws endure to this day, for all things serve you. If your law had not been my delight, I would have perished in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts, for by them you have preserved my life. Save me, for I am yours. I have sought out your precepts. The wicked are waiting to destroy me, but I will ponder your statutes. To all perfection I see a limit, but your commands are boundless. Oh, how I love your law. I meditate on it all day long. Your commands are always with me and make me wiser than my enemies. I have more insight than all my teachers, for I meditate on your statutes. I have more understanding than the elders, for I obey your precepts. I have kept my feet from every evil path, so that I might obey your word. I have not departed from your laws, for you yourself have taught me. How sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. I gain understanding from your precepts, therefore I hate every wrong path. Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. I have taken an oath and confirmed it, that I will follow your righteous laws. I have suffered much. Preserve my life, Lord, according to your word. Accept, Lord, the willing praise of my mouth, and teach me your laws. Though I constantly take my life in my hands, I will not forget your law. The wicked have set a snare for me, but I have not strayed from your precepts. Your statutes are my heritage forever. They are the joy of my heart. My heart is set on keeping your decrees to the very end. I hate double-minded people, but I love your law. You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word. Away from me, you evildoers, that I may keep the commands of my God. Sustain me, my God, according to your promise, and I will live. Do not let my hopes be dashed. Uphold me, and I will be delivered. I will always have regard for your decrees. You reject all who stray from your decrees, for their delusions come to nothing. All the wicked of the earth you discard like dross. Therefore I love your statutes. My flesh trembles in fear of you. I stand in awe of your laws. I have done what is righteous and just. Do not leave me to my oppressors. Ensure your servant's well-being. Do not let the arrogant oppress me. My eyes fail looking for your salvation, looking for your righteous promise. Deal with your servant according to your love, and teach me your decrees. I am your servant. Give me discernment, that I may understand your statutes. It is time for you to act, Lord. Your law is being broken. Because I love your commands more than gold, more than pure gold, and because I consider all your precepts right, I hate every wrong path. Your statutes are wonderful, therefore I obey them. The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. I open my mouth and pant, longing for your commands. Turn to me and have mercy on me, as you always do to those who love your name. Direct my footsteps according to your word. Let no sin rule over me. Redeem me from human oppression, that I may obey your precepts. Make your face shine on your servant, and teach me your decrees. Streams of tears flow from my eyes, for your law is not obeyed. You are righteous, Lord, and your laws are right. The statutes you have laid down are righteous. They are fully trustworthy. My zeal wears me out, for my enemies ignore your words. Your promises have been thoroughly tested, and your servant loves them. Though I am lowly and despised, I do not forget your precepts. Your righteousness is everlasting, and your law is true. Trouble and distress have come upon me, but your commands give me delight. Your statutes are always righteous. Give me understanding, that I may live. I call with all my heart. Answer me, Lord, and I will obey your decrees. I call out to you. Save me, and I will keep your statutes. I rise before dawn and cry for help. I have put my hope in your word. My eyes stay open through the watches of the night, that I may meditate on your promises. Hear my voice in accordance with your love. Preserve my life, Lord, according to your laws. Those who devise wicked schemes are near, but they are far from your law. Yet you are near, Lord, and all your commands are true. Long ago I learned from your statutes that you established them to last forever. Look on my suffering and deliver me, for I have not forgotten your law. Defend my cause and redeem me. Preserve my life according to your promise. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they do not seek out your decrees. Your compassion, Lord, is great. Preserve my life according to your laws. Many are the foes who persecute me, but I have not turned from your statutes. I look on the faithless with loathing, for they do not obey your word. See how I love your precepts. Preserve my life, Lord, in accordance with your love. All your words are true. All your righteous laws are eternal. Rulers persecute me without cause, but my heart trembles at your word. I rejoice in your promise like one who finds great spoil. I hate and detest falsehood, but I love your law. 7 times a day I praise you for your righteous laws. Great peace have those who love your law, and nothing can make them stumble. I wait for your salvation, Lord, and I follow your commands. I obey your statutes, for I love them greatly. I obey your precepts and your statutes, for all my ways are known to you. May my cry come before you, Lord. Give me understanding according to your word. May my supplication come before you. Deliver me according to your promise. May my lips overflow with praise, for you teach me your decrees. May my tongue sing of your word, for all your commands are righteous. May your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your salvation, Lord, and your law gives me delight. Let me live that I may praise you, and may your laws sustain me. I have strayed like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I have not forgotten your commands. One as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. In this meaningless life of mine, I have seen both of these. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. The words of the teacher, son of David, king of Jerusalem. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors, of which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. I, the teacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore, by wisdom, all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom, and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this too is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly, my mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of their lives. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem as well, the delights of a man's heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom, and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, while the fool walks in the darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? I said to myself, this too is meaningless. For the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. The days have already come when both have been forgotten. Like the fool, the wise too must die. So I hated life, because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish? Yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I have poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then they must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What do people get for all the toil and anxious striving with which they labor under the sun? All their days, their work is grief and pain. Even at night, their minds do not rest. This too is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too, I see, is from the hand of God, for without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness, but to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. Whatever is has already been, and whatever will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward, and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Again I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressors, and they have no comforter. And I declared that the dead, who had already died, are happier than the living who are still alive. But better than both is the one who has never been born, who has not seen the evil that is done under the sun. And I saw that all toil and achievement spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Fools fold their hands and ruin themselves. Better one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Again I saw something meaningless under the sun. There was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. There was no end to his toil. Yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. For whom am I toiling, he asked, and why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? This too is meaningless, a miserable business. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Better a poor but wise youth than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to heed a warning. The youth may have come from prison to the kingship, or he may have been born in poverty within his kingdom. I saw that all who lived and walked under the sun followed the youth, the king's successor. There was no end to all the people who were before them, but those who came later were not pleased with the successor. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. Go near to listen, rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools, who do not know that they do wrong. Do not be quick with your mouth. Do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven, and you are on earth, so let your words be few. A dream comes when there are many cares, and many words mark the speech of a fool. When you make a vow to God, do not delay to fulfill it. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow, It is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin, and do not protest to the temple messenger, "My vow was a mistake." Why should God be angry at what you say and destroy the work of your hands? Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, fear God. If you see the poor oppressed in a district and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such things, for one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still. The increase from the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the fields. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. As goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owners, except to feast their eyes on them? The sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. I have seen a grievous evil under the sun. Wealth hoarded to the harm of its owners, or wealth lost through some misfortune, so that when they have children there is nothing left for them to inherit. Everyone comes naked from their mother's womb, and as everyone comes, so they depart. They take nothing from their toil that they can carry in their hands. This too is a grievous evil. As everyone comes, so they depart. And what do they gain, since they toil for the wind? All their days they eat in darkness with great frustration, affliction, and anger. This is what I have observed to be good, that it is appropriate for a person to eat, to drink, and to find satisfaction in their toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot. Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God. They seldom reflect on the days of their life because God keeps them occupied with gladness of heart. Ecclesiastes chapter 6. I have seen another evil under the sun, and it weighs heavily on mankind. God gives some people wealth, possessions, and honor, so that they lack nothing their hearts desire. But God does not grant them the ability to enjoy them, and strangers enjoy them instead. This is meaningless, a grievous evil. A man may have 100 children and live many years, yet no matter how long he lives, if he cannot enjoy his prosperity and does not receive proper burial, I say that a stillborn child is better off than he. It comes without meaning, it departs in darkness, and in darkness its name is shrouded. Though it never saw the sun or knew anything, it has more rest than does that man, even if he lives 1,000 years twice over, but fails to enjoy his prosperity. Do not all go to the same place. Everyone's toil is for their mouth, and yet their appetite is never satisfied. What advantage have the wise over fools? What do the poor gain by knowing how to conduct themselves before others? Better what the eye sees than the roving of the appetite. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Whatever exists has already been named, and what humanity is has been known. No one can contend with someone who is stronger. The more the words, the less the meaning. And how does that profit anyone? For who knows what is good for a person in life during the few and meaningless days they pass through like a shadow? Who can tell them what will happen under the sun after they are gone? Ecclesiastes chapter 7. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart. Frustration is better than laughter, because a sad face is good for the heart. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of pleasure. It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. Like the crackling of thorns under the pot, so is the laughter of fools. This too is meaningless. Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Do not say, "Why were the old days better than these?" For it's not wise to ask such questions. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter, as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore no one can discover anything about their future. In this meaningless life of mine, I have seen both of these, the righteous perishing in their righteousness, and the wicked living long in their wickedness. Do not be over-righteous, neither be over-wise. Why destroy yourself? Do not be over-wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? It is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. Wisdom makes one wise person more powerful than 10 rulers in a city. Indeed, there is no one on earth who is righteous, no one who does what is right and never sins. Do not pay attention to every word people say, or you may hear your servant cursing you. For you know in your heart that many times you yourself have cursed others. All this I tested by wisdom, and I said, I am determined to be wise, but this was beyond me. Whatever exists is far off and most profound. Who can discover it? So I turned my mind to understand, to investigate, and to search out wisdom and the scheme of things, and to understand the stupidity of wickedness and the madness of folly. I find more bitter than death the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap and whose hands are chains. The man who pleases God will escape her, but the sinner she will ensnare. Look, says the teacher, this is what I have discovered. Adding one thing to another to discover the scheme of things, while I was still searching but not finding, I found one upright man among 1,000, but not one upright woman among them all. This only have I found. God created mankind upright, but they have gone in search of many schemes. Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Who is like the wise? Who knows the explanation of things? A person's wisdom brightens their face and changes its hard appearance. Obey the king's command, I say, because you took an oath before God. Do not be in a hurry to leave the king's presence. Do not stand up for a bad cause, for he will do whatever he pleases. Since a king's word is supreme, who can say to him, "What are you doing?" Whoever obeys his command will come to no harm, and the wise heart will know the proper time and procedure. For there is a proper time and procedure for every matter, though a person may be weighed down by misery. Since no one knows the future,